Okay, picking up from where we last left off, we created our login form. So now let's go ahead and create some simple validation. We're going to check to see if the username and password combination matches within our database. And then we're going to set the functionality to once the user logs in and everything is correct, it will redirect the page to the user's profile page. Alright, so let's get started. Okay. Alright, so up here at the top of our page, let's add, since we're going to be working with sessions, let's do session start. Oop. Okay. Alright, now that I can type, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so we got, let's listen out for the post, submit, the form submit button to click, so it'll be if it's set, post, submit. Okay, so username will equal to post username. Okay, and the password will equal to post password. Okay. Alright, so let's do a check to see if the username or password is missing, and then we're going to display an error if it is. So we can do an if statement, if empty username or empty password. Okay, and then we can do error let's just do missing. Let's put this in bold. Username and actually, you know what? Let's just keep it simple. And valid. Put this back in bold. Username and password. Okay. Alright, and then let's go ahead right here underneath our form. We can do simple PHP if statement, if it's set, error. Then we can do ends and if right here. Okay, so let's set this up right here. And if we have an if statement set, so if is set the variable error, then we'll go ahead and create a div, give an ID, of errors. Okay, and then we can just do PHP echo error. All right, so that would do our display our errors. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back into Chrome, refresh. Nothing happened. Okay, let's go back into our login. See what we did wrong. Don't see anything wrong. Okay, if post submit. You just refresh it that way. We can do click that, nothing happens. Okay, found the error. Forgot the T in post. Okay, so you can see if we click here, missing username, invalid username and password because we're missing both. So if we was to put A, no error displays. Okay, so let's go ahead and provide a check to see if it's there. So we're gonna do else here. And the reason why I'm doing the else block for the code because I don't want anything else to run unless this is proven not to be true. This if statement. Because sometimes if you don't put an else, if I don't put this and then start adding code here, it will still run. I don't want that to happen, so just to be safe, we'll put it within some brackets within the else statement. Okay, so now that we know if we're at this part in our code that we have our username and password, let's go ahead and bring in our database connection. And for the previous parts in this tutorial, I just connected it right within the script. But I went ahead and created a file called dbconnect, which holds this in here because we're going to need to connect to the database on multiple pages, and I just don't want to put our connection logic, if that's the right phrase I'm looking for, and do it every time for every page, so just to speed up production. So I'm just going to include it with a simple include db connect.php. Okay, and let's clean up our variables because we're going to be putting them running them through our database. So we can do username equals, let's trim it. We can strip the tags from it. And slash it, so we can do that. Okay. And I'm not going to be using a prepared statement for this. So I'm just going to go ahead and go db real escape string username. Okay. Alright, and we gotta do the same thing for the password. So password gotta just duplicate everything we just did for a username, but we're going to add one extra step. because if you remember, our passwords are hashed out, so we also have to hash out the inputted password to compare it. So we can do so what we need to do is do password equals MD5 password. Okay. Alright, so let's create our query. So we can do query equals maybe query. Alright, so let's select everything from members where username equals username. Okay. And password equals password. Okay. Alright, so now we gotta check to make sure that there's a row that has that exact information that matches that. And we know that, so we know that we need to return one row. And let's check it with just doing a simple query num rows. Yep. Okay. So if query num rows, let's say, is equal to 1. So if there's one row that matches, well, if there's one row that matches username and password, we're gonna do something here. Else error equals where is that? Copy that and paste that there. Okay. Alright, so let's make sure this works. Refresh the page. Do A and A. Invalid username and password. And then we know this works because this is the username password I created. Nothing happens because there's no error message because I haven't set up for what it's supposed to do. So we know that works. So let's go back in our file. Okay, right here we're going to do, what we need to do is create a session. I'm going to call this logged in. We're going to set that to be true. Okay. And then we're going to do session username equals username. Alright. And then let's go ahead and send the user to the profile page. So we can do header location profile equals, actually, you know what? Profile PHP username equals username. Actually, let's do it like this. Okay. And then we're going to exit the script. Alright, and this is our profile page. I've created this before. So this is going to echo the username. If everything works, it's going to, when we log in, it's going to create the session, send us to this page, and then it's going to print out our username. Alright, so refresh. Voila. Everything works. So let's go back into our login script, and right here, let's perform a check, right? Because we don't want, if the person's already logged in, there's no need for them to be coming back to this page and logging in again. So let's check to see if it's set. No, let's do like this. If session logged in equals true, we're going to go ahead and redirect straight to the profile page, and let's go profile.php username equals, instead of username, we're going to do session username. Actually, you know what? I don't think that's gonna work like that. We're gonna do username, but before that, we're gonna do username equals session username. Alright, and then we do the exit, so it kills the rest of the script. So if you go back, if you try to go to the login page, it won't let us log back in. Alright, now let's go ahead and make it so that this URL looks nicer. Instead of having, with the query inside of it, we can go ahead. I did this beforehand, but I'm going to go ahead and go over it. For htaccess file, and what this does is, this is going to create a rewrite rule, which allows for the username to just be given in the URL, and it will go ahead and go to the page. What it does is takes a regular expression right here, which is for anything, and then it appends it. So what it's going to look like is this. I probably explained that wrong, but this is going to be in the if you check the description, I'll have a link to the source code for you guys to download. So if you can just do Tim_Johnson, it works. Okay, so this is what the user is going to see next time. When they really log in, it's just going to go here, and then say if you want to create links or whatever, everything stays looking nice and tidy. Alright, so let's go ahead and end this section off right here, and then in the next section we're going to create the template for the standard member profile page.